I'm not that big of a board game guy. I might think Uno and Jenga are peak, but I couldn't care less about games like Monopoly. Who plays that game anyways? It takes forever for one match to end. Like, I just don't vibe with those types of games. Sorry, this ain't it, Chief. Okay, cut that part out. However, there is one game that stood out to me, Connect 4. A simple yet very intriguing challenge designed to give you seizures just thinking about the number 4. That's when I thought, maybe I should try playing competitively, which is why I decided to put my number skills to the test by competing in the Discord Connect 4 tournament. What did I get myself into? It was like I was being put against some of the hardest opponents in the world, aka just a bunch of traders from my YouTube channel with 6k subs. You should check them out, and let's just say this was a roller coaster of emotions. Now without further ado, let's review every round I played in. My first match was against a user named Crazy, which, not gonna lie, kinda describes me this first round. Also, quick disclaimer, some of these matches will be sped up due to how long it took, and part of this clip is missing some footage because my Bowser brain forgot to press record. Please forgive me. Anyways, not much happens here, leading to a 50-50 stand down, giving me the victory here. Now in this next match, we do pretty much the same thing, trying to set up rows of 4 in any way, shape, or form. Another 50-50 standoff happens and Crazy gets the better of me due to how many traps he placed early on. Our final match begins with me trying to get an early horizontal Connect 4, but I continuously get blocked off. This was the moment I realized I could use these 3 coins as a setup. By placing a coin on column 1, I can force my opponent to place a coin on top of mine, that way I can do the same and steal the victory. And with that, I'm on to the round of 32. My next opponent was Space Missile, which meant that we technically fought some Star Wars. To start this off, we both had the same idea to create diagonal rows of 4, but we just kept blocking each other. After a few close calls, I ended up making the dumbest, smartest decision of the game. Now, I don't know what happened here, but what I assumed happened was that seeing the connection made Space Missile lose track of his own row. After that, I successfully blocked him and managed to get away with it. As for our second game, it was pretty much one-sided. I mean, just look at this. The round of 16 brought me Asumi Luna as my opponent. Apologies for the mispronunciation, I suck at English nowadays. Originally, my plan was to use this space to connect 4 horizontally while also being able to do it on a positive slope here. Unfortunately, what I didn't take into account was that the bait coin trick would block both ways, meaning I had to improvise. Due to the lack of available space for Asumi, I took advantage of areas that could easily make a 4. It was then that I realized that I unintentionally made a trap, to which it actually worked out. Our second game starts with me trying to get an early setup as you see here, and that's about it. I guess this move was trying to trick me, but it was too late once the coin was placed. With that, I am now in the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals was truly where I began to feel the pressure mounting on my back, and my opponent here was CSW. Now, this was no easy round due to how easy we could counter one another. It was like we were constantly adapting to each other, researching the probability of taking the W, but this ended up turning into one of our closest and silliest matches ever. I began by trying to go on the offense, however CSW easily blocked the obvious pass I attempted to make. Here we both began going on the defense trying to make as many possible setups prior to a potential 50-50 showdown. Then this happened. If you thought that was bad, wait till you see what I do here. Like last time, we both raced to get as many setups if a showdown ever happened, but just as I thought I gained an upper edge, my eyes forgot to look, and so I got bamboozled. Fast forward a couple turns later, and this is what happens in our final match. What this came down to was who could take advantage of the number turn. Essentially, if you place your coin in a column that has an odd number of spaces, you're guaranteed to win. So by placing my coin here, I was able to trap my opponent with no way out of it, and thus, I reached the semifinals. My challenger this time was Ian McBloke, a surprising rematch from our first ever time doing this kind of tournament. The first few minutes of my time were spent creating a trap using this hole in column 5. While I do that, I use more obvious placements to keep my opponent distracted. Then when I placed my coin in column 7, Ian was forced to either block me but take the loss, or simply just lose altogether. To which he gave up here. Very hilarious. This next round was so long that I'm just gonna coconut mall it. That's when Ian's internet went haywire, causing a glitch in the match. We ended up getting into a little debate about whether this should count towards his win, but me being the humble, kind, fair person I am, I said why not? After all, we need some good sportsmanship in this world. The final round began with Ian on a very big offense, setting horizontal setups from the get-go. However, due to how long it took me to realize this, I made mistakes like this that led to my downfall. A few hours later, we see this abomination and another mistake I made that ultimately solidified my loss. After doing some stacking, the moment came for me to make my move, and all I could do was reflect on how far I made it. Nah, I'm just kidding, I was fuming like crazy. It didn't matter what I did because it'll be over. Man, screw this! So that is my journey in this tournament in 2024. Phew, took a lot of explaining to do, and I can go lay down for a while. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It took blood, sweat, and tears to make this. And until next time, peace.